large-scale physical as well as mechanical effects. The action is then filmed as a carefully planned sequence of events. Instead, you are in luck because we are pre-production of our very own action sequence called Heart Attack. But all the special effects directors like Michael Bay use in their films. So make some noise if you want to see those special effects. Alright, let's show them some water cannons. Pressurized up to 100 pounds per square inch, we have bullet heads, which must be programmed and timed to match the continuity of the visuals and matching the pattern of the sound effects. Now, the last and probably most important special effect in our show today is fire, which must be ignited at just the right moment. This is because it takes time and work to reset those explosions. Of course, the number one consideration of timing of all these special effects is the safety of our actors and crew on set. Now we have our actors, but later on today when our crew does show up, we will be shooting two scenes. Our first scene takes place in the engine room, which is way down below the water line. But here it is, we recreated that engine room right here for our filming purposes. When I call for action, that way the phone, telling the staff to get track of what is going on in that engine room. They just lost their engine, and they're off to just a little bit of water. So when I say just a little bit of water, here in the water tank, I actually need 1,000 gallons of ice cold water. Something out of the tank, slide down my chute, and slam it into our poor mechanic. Now our next scene takes place on the deck of our PT boat with our parade captain up top and our wild white deckers down below. And this time when I call for action, the captain will pick up those binoculars and find those enemy fighters coming in at 10 o'clock. The deck crew is making sure that boat is absolutely stopped. At this time, the deck crew is running around screaming, waving their hands in the air. The captain is steering that boat to see these enemy fighters coming right. Now it is too late, they just lost their engine. The captain picks up that phone, talks to his mechanic. The deck crew spots something coming off to the side of the boat. And that, folks, is the enemy torpedo that took out our poor mechanic. Now they think it's all over and they start to relax. But of course there must be a grand finale. So at this time they start putting their hands towards the sky. They find those enemy bombers coming in at 12 o'clock. Bomb away, everybody, hit the deck. Now at this time you see some explosions, some water cannons, and some bullet hits. Liam, you turned off those torpedoes, right? Oh no, look out, everybody! Whew, did everybody make it? Everybody safe? Oh, okay. Great. Well, unfortunately, that is all we have here for you at the special effects water tank, but your tour's not over just yet. If you turn to your left and see down on the ramp through the top warehouse, the shuttle plane takes you on the rest of your tour. On behalf of myself, Liam, and the Backlot Tour, we hope you all have a really magical day here at Disney's Hollywood Studios.
And be sure to watch your children. Thank you.
Bienvenidos. Para que tengan un viaje seguro, permanezcan sentados, con las manos, brazos, pies y piernas dentro del tren. Y vigilen a los niños. Gracias.
All clear?
It is 10:08. When does it go start? 10:40 to 11:40.
Hello everyone, my name's Don and welcome aboard. We're heading into the backlot of Disney's Hollywood Studios. This production area was built in 1988 as a Florida counterpart to the Walt Disney Studios in Burbank, California. We included sound stages, recording studios, high-tech editing rooms, all the tools needed to create movies, TV shows, and radio broadcasts. We've even got our very own water tower, too. It's up ahead on the left side of our shuttle. We call it the Earful Tower. It's inspired by the water tower Walt Disney had built for his Burbank studio in 1939. Our Florida tower stands a lucky 13 stories high, and we added our own creative touch, a giant set of Mickey Mouse ears. If you wanted to wear those ears, you'd have to have a hat size of 342 3/8. Up ahead, after the next bend in the road, you'll have a perfect opportunity to take a picture of this famous icon. In the world of entertainment, every project starts with a screenplay and a lot of creative ideas. A production studio is where the ideas of writers, producers, and directors are transformed into an on-screen reality. Within these huge spaces, filmmakers can literally create their own worlds. Our Florida sound stages are soundproof, weatherproof, and most importantly, air-conditioned, all vitally important for the cast, crew, and equipment. Many of the crafts needed for filmmaking are located right here on the lot. On the left, we have our own greens department. It grows flowers, trees, shrubs, and topiaries. A few well-placed plants can cover up empty spots in the set and add a touch of natural beauty to a scene. On the right are two vintage World War II aircraft, but these P-40 replicas were created specifically for the big screen, even though they look as if they could join the action at any moment. You might say these high flyers are real characters. Oh, keep your cameras focused to the right. We're coming up in that perfect angle of the Earful Tower I told you about. It's a true masterpiece. We're entering one of our most glamorous and colorful departments, creative costuming. Every star has to have just the right wardrobe, and it all begins here with a designer's sketch. Our team of designers, seamstresses, and tailors can turn 1.5 million yards of fabric into over 25,000 costumes every year. Many of these costumes will become part of the shows and attractions of the Walt Disney World Resort. In fact, here in Florida, we have the largest working wardrobe department in the world. Why, Mickey Mouse alone has over 175 different outfits to choose from, while Minnie Mouse keeps more than 200 unique costumes in her wardrobe. On the left are costumes worn by the stars in recent studio productions. You'll probably recognize some of those costumes from the big screen. Every story needs a setting, and our design staff can create just about any place a script calls for, from an urban city street to a remote desert canyon. On the left is our Scenic shop, where large-scale sets and props are built. Our team of set designers, carpenters, artists, and engineers has created caves and caverns, game show sets, even replicas of the U.S. Supreme Court and NASA's Mission Control, all on our sound stages. The shop also provides sets and props for our shows and parades here at Walt Disney World. The same skill and craftsmanship that goes into a movie set can also be used to create magic for our parks. Either way, it's all about making dreams come true. Now we're entering a zone we call the Boneyard. It's an outdoor storage area for oversized props and vehicles. Cars, trucks, boats, planes, we often save these props in case we need them for future productions. In this Backlot collection, you may find real working vehicles, non-working mock-ups, and even large-scale miniatures used in special effects shots. Large-scale models create a more convincing illusion on camera. We're now passing by the sets for our Lights, Motors, Action, Extreme Stunt Show. On the left, you may catch a glimpse of the Mediterranean fishing village that sets the stage for this thrilling attraction. We'll get a closer look at it soon, but for now, we're approaching one of the largest standing sets on our back lot. It's over on the right. It may not look like much from this angle, but it's pretty spectacular on the other side. This is great, folks. The production crew has just given us clearance to enter the set.
Hello, Backlot Tour. I'm Amy, a production coordinator here at the studios. I can see your shuttle heading toward our canyon set. I've given your driver permission to come in and take a look around. I'm up here with our effects crew, and we're getting ready to shoot a test sequence. Oh, on the way in, you're going to be crossing a wooden bridge, and things may get a little bumpy, so please, hold on to your belongings, especially hats, cameras, and glasses, and keep an eye on any small children in your party. And of course, please remain seated at all times. Welcome to the set. As you can see, we brought the bare, dry deserts of Southern California to green, typically humid Central Florida. This set is based on real locations that our production designer took pictures of. Our set crew spent about 6 months building the canyon, but we've used it for a number of TV shows and specials over the years. For our upcoming production, the script called for a tanker truck. We found this one in our boneyard, but it was too big to drive into place. So we picked it up with a crane and set it down here. We're up on the overhead platforms, and I see our director has arrived. As soon as the rain effect is ready, we'll begin the sequence. This sudden shower is really just a special effect. We've rigged up a series of water nozzles just above your tram. The water sprays in a crisscross pattern to create a sense of depth, but this storm only covers the first few feet of the set.
Catastrophe Canyon, E1, thank you.
Okay, it's showtime. Everybody stay seated. Hang on to your belongings and watch your children. By now, you've probably figured out why we call it Catastrophe Canyon. Now, let's go behind the scenes and find out how this spectacular sequence was created. The canyon itself is a facade, a steel structure covered in wire mesh and layers of concrete, sculpted and painted to look like natural rock formations. Narrow yellow pipes carry propane gas to fuel the explosions and fire effects. For the flash flood, we used 100% real water, about 70,000 gallons of it, dumped from overhead tanks. Oh, and don't worry, we recycle. All of that water will be pumped right back up to the top for the next take. We shoot some of the water through ear cannons for an extra dynamic effect. Those ear cannons are powerful enough to shoot a basketball over the top of a skyscraper the size of the Empire State Building. To top it off, our shuttle was sent to bring in the next shuttle. Well, I've got to get ready for our next take. Thank you all for being part of the action. Hey, I'm needed back on the set, so enjoy the rest of your tour.
Okay, well, thanks, Amy, for giving us access to the set.
Hi everybody, I'm Clay Hall, the director of the new Disney Toon Studios animated feature, Planes. Looks like the historic aircraft on the right is getting into the spirit of our new film. You know, it would fit right in with Dusty Crophopper, El Chupacabra, and all their high-flying friends from Prop Wash Junction. Now that plane was known at airports across the country as November 234 Mickey Mouse, or the Mouse for short. You know, back in the early 1960s, Walt Disney himself used this plane to scout locations for what he referred to as the Florida Project. His team purchased many acres of land here in Central Florida, but they kept the Disney connection a well-guarded secret. Eventually, the secret was out, and the Walt Disney World Resort became a reality. I hope you enjoy the rest of your tour, and I hope you enjoy Planes.
On our right, we once again sweep past the magnificent Mediterranean village of our Lights, Motors, Action Extreme Stunt Show. This high-octane attraction is based on the hit show from the Walt Disney Studios Park in France. In this action-packed production, you'll feel like you're right there on the set during the filming of a spy thriller, complete with custom-built cars, motorcycles, even jet skis. You'll experience the split-second timing, coordinated driving, and fiery special effects that make action movies a real blast. The staging area to our right is known as Acceleration Alley. Here, the custom-built stunt show vehicles rev their engines up to 70 miles an hour before making their high-speed entrances onto the stage for our Lights, Motors, Action Extreme Stunt Show. Of course, these are professional stunt drivers. We hope you'll enjoy their daring driving skills, but please, don't try them yourself. On the left, we've reached our second boneyard with more historic props and vehicles. When we reuse older props in a new production, they're often refitted with custom parts and given a whole new color scheme. You might not even recognize them the next time you see them on screen. For instance, coming up is our friend Herbie the Love Bug. He went through a special demolition derby makeover. Those dents and dings were added on purpose, but he can be polished up as good as new for his next starring role. On our right, we now have a very different view of the fishing village set. From this point of view, you can see that there is no inside of the buildings. They are just false fronts or facades. In the movie business, set builders only create what the camera has to see. It's an old movie trick dating all the way back to the silent era. To add to the sense of realism and avoid the cost of set building, many of today's television shows and movies film on location in cities and towns across the U.S. But out in the real world, you've got to contend with noise, traffic, crowds, and various visual elements that may or may not belong in your film. Here on the Backlot, we can avoid these problems because we created our very own flexible urban environment. Our Streets of America facades can stand in for a small town or a giant metropolis. As we come around the last corner on our route, you'll see the skyline of New York City in the distance. It's really a series of painted flats, expertly designed to fool the eye and the camera. We can dress and decorate these streets to look like any city we want, from Chicago to San Francisco. Depending on the choice of vehicles, props, and costumes, we can even turn back the clock and set our story in a different time. And what's more, these sets are built with Florida weather in mind. They're made to withstand 100-mile-an-hour winds. You're welcome to visit our Streets of America anytime during your visit today and get an up-close look at the skills of our set designers and builders. We've just about reached the end of our tour. Our final stop is the American Film Institute Showcase, where you can see the actual costumes and movie props used in some of Hollywood's most famous films. There are some pretty amazing items in there, so feel free to take all the time you like. Please stay seated until our tram comes to a complete stop and check around you for any personal items that may have fallen during our trip. Well, as they say in Hollywood, that's a wrap. Thanks for joining our Backlot Tour, and we hope you'll come back to visit us again soon.
Welcome back, everybody. Please do remain seated until we come to that full and complete stop. At that time, we're going to be opening the doors on your right. So for those sitting on the right, do watch your arms and legs. Final part of your tour is going to be through the blue sliding doors of the American Film Institute Showcase. 2 showings of Lights, Motors, Action Day at 1:20 and 4:30. And here come your doors. Now for your safety, please do remain seated.